All right, so get this. Today, we are diving head first into, well, it's messy, that's for sure, but it's definitely captivating. The Stephanie Harlowe story.
Oh, yeah, I've been following this one.
You know, from Crime Weekly, the serial series.
Right.
She usually spends her time dissecting other people's drama.
Right.
But now she's the main character.
Oh, for sure.
And you guys have sent in a ton of stuff for this deep dive.
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking social media, forum discussions. I even saw some video breakdowns from YouTube. It's like a full-on internet rabbit hole.
And it's interesting. The backdrop to this whole thing is fascinating to me because, she built a career off of this, right?
Right.
Analyzing crime, exploring these dark sides of human nature. And here she is in the middle of this very public separation with accusations of affluence and manipulation kind of flying from both sides.
It's true. And to make it even more complicated, her estranged husband, Adam, passed away during all of this.
Yeah, and it's important to note that, that news came directly from Stephanie in this very carefully worded message on YouTube where she expresses, sadness, of course, but also mentions their estrangement.
Right.
And even alludes to some of his struggles, even going so far as to include links to, abduction resources.
Wow.
Which, again, just adds another layer to this.
It does, especially since, no official cause of death has even been released.
Right.
It's like that little detail, whether it was intentional or not,
Yeah.
really frames the whole story,
Oh, absolutely. And that, even that in itself is this, strategic communication.
Yeah.
This vying for control of the narrative, which we see as a recurring theme throughout all this information.
For sure.
It's fascinating.
So let's rewind a little bit. So they met, they got married.
Mm.
She was already into true crime, but her career really took off, during their marriage.
Yeah.
And he was, from what I gather, mostly a stay-at-home dad taking care of things at home.
Which, as we know, in any relationship, that can create a power imbalance.
Mm.
You have to wonder if the roles were reversed.
Yeah.
If it was Adam and he was this big-time YouTuber,
Yeah.
would people be looking at the accusations the same way?
That is such a good point.
Something to think about. And this whole power and control dynamic, it really does seem to be at the heart of everything.
Okay.
We know that Adam, he suspected Stephanie of infidelity. Maybe with, we'll talk about Derek in a bit.
Right.
But he even put a GPS tracker on her car.
See, that's where things get really murky for me.
Yeah.
On the one hand, okay, maybe it's this desperate attempt to find out what's going on.
Right.
But on the other, that's controlling.
Absolutely. It speaks to a complete breakdown of trust.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, this is where things escalate.
Okay.
Because in February of this year, she gets an order of protection against him, forcing him to move out of the house.
Right, and that's where we get into this whole, he said, she said.
Totally.
They both made these allusions to abuse.
Yeah.
But there are no specifics.
No, nothing. And it's important to note that Adam claims that Stephanie fabricated or exaggerated the abuse, right?
Of course.
To make herself look better in the divorce.
Right.
Right. So,
which, I can see happening, but again, we don't know.
We don't know. That's the problem with online narratives.
Right.
Everybody has an agenda.
Exactly. And then it takes another turn with these 4 arrests.
Oh, yeah.
4 times he was arrested, allegedly, for violating the order of protection.
Right.
But it's all very vague.
It is. And right on the heels of those arrests, this is where Adam throws in a real wrench into things.
Okay.
Because he claims that his phone and his online accounts were hacked.
Yes.
And he publicly accuses Stephanie and Derek of orchestrating this elaborate scheme to discredit him.
Right. Which, of course, they deny.
They deny, yeah.
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 But it is interesting how, this accusation of hacking sort of plays into this, theme.
Yes.
Of control and manipulation that we keep seeing.
100%. So he goes from being the one that's, allegedly trying to control her with this tracker to claiming that he's the one being controlled through this hacking.
Oh, wow.
It's a complete role reversal.
It is.
He's trying to control the narrative now.
Yeah.
Just like Stephanie.
It's true. And then we have his activity on Reddit.
Oh, yeah.
Specifically, wait for it, a subreddit called Crime Weekly Snark.
Oh, my God.
It's perfect.
It's too perfect. It's out of one of her videos.
It's amazing. And it seems like this becomes his main outlet, right?
It does, yeah.
To share his side of the story.
Right.
Alleging, she's refusing to sign divorce papers, that she's manipulating him financially, and even using the kids as leverage.
Which, again, speaks to this parental alienation.
Right.
This term that comes up in custody disputes all the time.
Right.
Where, one parent is trying to turn the kids against the other one.
But again, there are two sides to this.
Of course.
Because she refutes all of that.
Yeah.
In a community post saying that, the kids have, court-appointed attorneys that are managing all the communication and the visitation, all that stuff.
All right. So again, we're left with these conflicting accounts.
Right.
And trying to piece it all together.
And then we have this leaked audio recording.
Oh, tell me about this.
Of a conversation between the two of them.
Okay.
Which the Wolfcast, one of the YouTube channels you sent in.
Right.
They analyzed this. And it's in this recording that we really start to hear his perspective in his own words.
Gotcha.
And it's his tone that got me.
Okay.
It's very defeated.
Yeah.
Almost resigned, and you can hear the desperation.
Wow.
And it's heartbreaking, honestly. But at the same time, we're only hearing one side.
One side, we're missing so much context.
Exactly.
And that's where I think her perspective and how she frames things becomes even more important.
Right. And she uses some really strong language.
Yeah.
Describing the marriage.
Okay.
Saying that she escaped with her life.
Ooh. That's very calculated.
It is, right.
Escaped with my life. It immediately evokes this danger, this feeling of being trapped.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And 50 Shades of Chest Pains, another one of the sources that came in, really focused on that.
Interesting.
They pointed out that her word choices, especially phrases like that, escaped with my life, calling herself a prisoner.
Wow.
These are all very intentional to get sympathy.
Right, and to position herself as the victim.
Exactly.
Which is a classic tactic in these types of separations.
Yes.
Especially with social media.
Oh, 100%.
Because that's really shaping public opinion these days.
Right, and it makes you think, where is the line?
Yeah.
Between being genuinely vulnerable.
Totally.
And having some sort of strategy.
Absolutely.
And that leads to the other big question, the ethics of profiting off of all of this.
Yes, yes.
Especially as a true crime creator.
Yeah, and that's something I think we should unpack further. But I'm curious, as someone who's deep in the true crime world, what stands out to you so far? You're right, the ethics are, they're so layered.
Yeah.
Because it's one thing, if you're a true crime creator and you're analyzing cases that are, historical.
Right.
Or even ongoing, but there's a little bit of distance.
Right.
But when you're the main character.
Right.
It really does get blurry.
It does. And even some of the stuff on YouTube and the articles you sent.
Yeah.
They were grappling with this because, her whole brand is about this stuff.
Right.
Digging into these dark stories, these dark parts of human nature.
Totally.
And now she's being accused of, in a way, using it.
Right.
For clicks and views.
Yeah. And it brings up these questions for everyone. As a viewer, should we be thinking about this? Should we be questioning consuming this content if it's benefiting her?
Right.
Financially.
That's true.
Where's the line between someone having the right to tell their story and when it becomes exploitative?
Totally. Imagine if one of the cases she covered on Crime Weekly suddenly became, intertwined with her life.
Exactly.
It'd make you kind of re-examine everything.
It really does. And this case in particular, it throws another wrench in the whole thing because we have Derek.
Right.
We can't forget about him.
Okay.
He's not just a bystander here. He's out there. He's shaking the narrative too.
He's coming out swinging.
He is.
Defending her.
Yeah.
Denying Adam's accusations.
Right.
He even says he's going to reveal his own experiences with Adam. So.
Oh, wow.
It's like a new season of something.
It's true. It's like a true crime documentary in itself.
It really is.
And that's what's fascinating about this. You have all these personal entanglements,
right.
The biases, all these players adding fuel to the fire with these carefully constructed narratives.
Right.
It's the human element, I think, that elevates this from just a legal dispute.
Yeah.
To something way more captivating.
100%.
Yeah.
You really start to get invested, don't you?
You do.
In the characters, the motivation, the alliances.
Right.
It's wild. You find yourself reading through all the posts.
You're looking for clues.
Yes. Looking for hidden meanings and all that.
Totally. And I think it's also important to mention the impact this has on.
Oh, yeah.
On the kids.
On everyone else involved.
Yes.
The kids.
Stephanie and Adam's kids, I mean.
It's heartbreaking. It doesn't matter where you stand.
Right.
They're the ones in the middle of this.
They're the collateral damage, yeah.
They are. Losing a parent And all of this other stuff on top of it. It's awful.
It is. And it's this reminder that these are real people.
Yes.
With real lives.
Yes.
And, you know, all of this online stuff has real world implications.
100%.
Especially for the vulnerable.
It's easy to get lost in the drama of it all, you know?
Sure.
Trying to figure it out, wanting an answer.
Right. But we're talking about pain and you know, complexity that we can't even imagine.
Right.
And then on top of it all, we're left with all these unanswered questions.
I know. Yeah, like Adam's cause of death.
Exactly.
I mean, we still don't know.
Right.
And that one piece of information, I feel like, could change everything.
Absolutely, because without it, it's even harder to cut through.
Right.
All the noise, the accusations, the counter accusations.
Right.
You know, we're just left with these fragments.
That's true.
A lot of which are coming from, you know, a very subjective point of view.
Right. It's like that saying, right? Everyone's a suspect because everyone has secrets.
Exactly. And that brings us back to like the crux of all of this, right? This idea of, can you ever really know
The truth.
the truth? Yeah. Like objectivity in this age of online personas.
Yes.
That theme is woven through every single part of this.
100%. It makes you really, I don't know, kind of look twice at everything you see. You know what I mean?
Totally.
Be a little more skeptical.
A healthy dose of skepticism.
Yes. Because there are multiple sides to every story.
Always.
And sometimes the most captivating story maybe isn't, you know.
Right. It's not the real one.
The accurate one, yes.
Right. And I think as this thing continues to unfold,
right,
we really have to keep that in mind. You know, it's easy to get caught up in all of this, you know.
Yes,
it feels like a
yes.
true crime drama.
It does.
But we have to engage with it responsibly.
Right.
You know, resist those urges to jump to conclusions.
Yes.
To judge based on incomplete information.
It's true. And remember, at the center of all of this, these are real people.
They are, with real lives.
With real lives.
And their stories deserve to be approached, I think, with sensitivity and, like we said, that skepticism.
Yeah. This has been a lot.
It has.
This whole case with all the twists and the turns.
It really is a good reminder, though, isn't it?
It is.
That truth is often elusive, and these narratives, the things we see online, you know, we really have to take it all with a grain of salt.
We do.
Examine it. Be critical. Be compassionate.
Yeah. Be compassionate. That's good. That's a good point.
Yeah.
Well, this has been quite a journey. Thanks for taking this deep dive with us today.